Now let's take a moment and take a look at what does efficient running look like? What do runners that are actually running really well, what do the professional runners do? How do we get more like that? Because you may never be as fast as a professional runner, but if you adhere to the same principles, then you will get more similar results that they're getting for the amount of time that you spend, okay? So what we really want to do is we want to be tall, we want to keep our shoulders back, we want to use gravity to our advantage. Gravity is coming down. How do we use gravity to move forward? Well, it's constantly coming down, so if we just stand tall, bend our knees, and we literally just fall forward, like I take my hips forward and I just fall forward, I'm getting momentum without doing anything. I didn't even have to earn that momentum. It's just free. It's like free energy. Standing and I'm leaning and I'm falling. I don't get that energy by reaching. I don't get that by doing this. I'll never get that free energy by reaching. Instead, I'm braking and putting in a damaging situation where it's gonna hurt me over time. So I hope I make that point clear enough. So this started coming across to me as like, oh my gosh, this is the way I've been running. And no wonder why my best friend in high school and grade school was always faster than me. Because he didn't do this and I did this. Now, does it mean I would have beat him? I don't know, but that's what I told myself in my mind. I was doing this, and this kid was definitely much more like this. He was more prancy. I was always wondering why he was so prancy, and he was just kicking my butt every time. So, how do we run correctly? Okay? Gravity is critical. We want to be able to lean forward. This is some of the drills we'll be working on. We have to be able to lean, okay? This is not the lean. You go where your butt goes, okay? If I go this way, I'm not going forward. If I go this way, what do? I tend to move this way. If I take my hips and go this way, if I take my hips and go back, I go back. I want to take my hips and go forward. Now we're going to do some drills where a lot of you guys are going to feel like you're doing this. You're going to feel like you're doing that. Because you're maybe used to sitting back more like this and you're not used to getting those hip flexors extended so you feel that going this way. Okay? But once you feel that momentum, you feel that free energy, that's critical. That's a huge advantage in the right direction. Okay? What do you do with your feet? You want your feet landing underneath your hips as much as you can. It's not going to be perfect, but you want to be closer to your hips versus way out in front. Because if you don't land with your feet close to your hips, you don't get the free energy. You don't maintain that free energy. As soon as you reach your foot out, the energy goes away because now you're putting a braking force in. So you want that foot actually landing somewhere in this window, like in this box area, somewhere in this one. It's never going to land behind you. But somewhere like kind of in this, it's going to land a little in front of you, but somewhere like in this area, like a foot maybe in front of you, or even closer to underneath your body. So I'm landing there, it allows me to carry my energy over, and I have to maintain an upright posture. As soon as I round my back, I've lost my energy. It's like a slinky versus a board. If I push a board over, that board just goes, falls over. So I want to basically be like a board that is leaning, and it's got wheels on it, and I'm going forward. Okay, so that's the concept. So how do I get my legs to do that? Instead of reaching so much, I engage the back of my leg, my hamstring, to pull. I want to pull my leg off the ground. So it becomes more of like a jog-in-place situation. It's a great way to practice running. Jog in place, okay? When I jog in place, it doesn't mean I'm lifting up like this and I'm not marching. I want to stay in balance. So my knee is coming forward, my heel is coming up. Okay, I come to that position so that I can maintain a stable position. I'm going to go over this and then we're going to do all these drills, really practice. So when I jog in place, shoulders are back, back straight, my arms are at my sides. We'll go over what the arms are doing. And I'm going to basically jog in place. Okay, I'm trying to not bounce up and down too much. There will be a little bit of that. And I'm not trying to go side to side, and I'm just holding my arms in position. I'm kind of pulling my arms back, and I'm getting to a position that's kind of stable, and I'm landing on my midfoot. The heel is going to come down and kiss the ground. I'm not trying to stay up on my tiptoe. I'm not trying to do that. This isn't this, okay? My heel's like jumping rope. I want my midfoot to land, and my heel should kind of kiss the ground, okay? So if I get that pattern of lifting and pulling versus this, or this, it'll just start to feel awkward for you if you're doing it incorrectly. But in the beginning, it's not going to feel right at all. You're like, everything is weird. Hamstring has got to work. This is so underused in most runners because they go like this. They go like this versus this. I get a pull up. Okay, pulling up, getting your foot off the ground is critical in order for it to return down underneath the ground, okay? So if my back stays, this is how simple it is. I know I'm going over a lot of stuff, but it's so simple. Watch this. Shoulders back, head up, My arms are basically being used to pull back, okay? That's all I'm doing. I'm not reaching forward. I'm not trying to get this extended thing here. Anything forward, again, is taken away from you. Anything pulling back is going to be helping you stay tall so you can maintain your lean, okay? So I'm pulling my elbows back, and I'm jogging in place. And what's the third component? If I add the lean, watch what happens to my body. If I just stay here, why am I moving? Why am I not moving? Why am I moving? Why am I not moving? It becomes very simple, and this is the start. This is the basics. It doesn't mean that there aren't more components if you're running really fast or uphill or downhill. There's other things that we can add in, but this is the basics that everybody should get really good at with running. Now, if I'm going to run really slow, there's no need to lift my legs up that high. When I first started practicing, it was very awkward, very weird, but once I got to the point where I was running really slow, I mean, I could run almost slower than I could walk, but I was barely lifting my feet up. I still want to maintain a cadence, and I could still get that ability to lean, stop, my feet are lifting up. I want to keep a nice, quick cadence, and I kind of go back and forth and feel that lean. But as soon as you get into this, you've lost it all. You don't have that leverage. So what has to happen for you to be a good runner? This is why I said you're not going to walk out of here today and be a phenomenal runner. You're not going to be able to translate this into all your running. If you don't have your calves in shape, you can't run. There's no way. You're going to blow out a calf, which I did in training. Okay, and it set me back for 3 months. I blew out my calf. It hurt so bad, and I was so upset because I was really getting decent at it, and my calves just weren't developed. I spent years and years and years of not developing my calves, and then I expected to go run on my calves. You can't do it. So you have to develop your calves. How do you do that? By practicing short duration runs. You can do calf raises. You can stretch them out a little bit. You can massage them. You can do a lot of jump rope. But you have to build in the time. You just can't accelerate the process that's going to take potentially 2 to 3 months and do it in a week. Can't do it because you're going to go through some soreness in your calves. It just will happen, okay? Next step is a hamstring. The hamstring has to be in shape. If that's not in shape and you stop pulling, then the leg will not return back underneath where it's supposed to return, and it'll end up more in front of your body, or you'll minimize your ability to move forward in the right way, and you'll offset something and it'll start irritating you as well. So hamstring must work. These are some of the drills we're going to do. We're going to do a lot of pulling drills. You got to get used to pulling the leg up. Has to come up. Because if I lose any of those two, then this lower body stuff is not going to work. Okay? My back has got to be strong. If I'm running and my back starts to round, I've lost my lever, I've lost everything, I start moving, it's going to cannibalize on you. You can't do it. You cannot have a rounded back. You can't have a weak hamstring or a weak calf. Those have to be in shape. And that's why we need to do drills to practice those. So again, if my back is straight, elbows are in, I'm pulling, not reaching, jog in place, and lean. This is the way that professional runners run, and not like this, which is the way most of you guys are probably running, and the way just about every single person that's going to do the turkey trot, which I see every year, is going to be running, with knee braces, ankle braces, all kinds of braces, everywhere. We got to prevent that. I'm telling you, this literally is the way the human beings are designed to run. If you take your shoes off and run, it's no different. I wouldn't change my form at all. It's the same exact thing. Whereas if I'm running heel striking, and then I take my shoes off, I would have to change something up. What I would probably end up doing is going like this, and I'd probably like tiptoe or reach or do something because I want to land on the pad of the foot because it feels much better. It's more shock absorption than landing on like a bone. The bone is literally like millimeters away from that pad. So you don't want to land on that thing. Questions so far? No? Is this like a huge shock? I mean, when I first learned it, I was like, lights are going off. This is amazing. There's actually a way to run. Because I had no idea. I was like, I just got to push harder. I'm going to push. I'm going to work harder. I'm going to push. But when you learn that there's actually a technique of how to run, and then you start looking at the professionals and going, oh my God, that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. And then you're like, wow, that's maybe one of the reasons why they get such good results. And then they train on that, and they train on that. And I thought I missed the boat because I literally thought when I learned this 20 years ago, I was like, oh my God, this is the new thing. Everyone's going to learn it. It's going to be like everywhere. And here we go, 20 years later. It's just as bad as it was. Everyone's still heel toe. Everyone's still in the same position. Everyone's still getting orthotics. I mean, it's still there. So it's up to me to help transition that into the right way, and I want to start with you guys. So let's take a look at this video. Okay, here's a video, and we're going to get into some drills because I want you guys to move and I want you really to practice so you understand this. Okay, but this really is just kind of an introduction to running technique. Okay, I want you guys all the exercises and drills you need to make a significant progress in the next few weeks. Okay, but it doesn't mean that you may not need additional coaching or additional help or things like that. And if you want additional help, I'm available. We can talk about certain things. Okay, but let's take a look at this. This is the Boston Marathon. You have to qualify for this. Now, this is quite a few years ago, but this is the Boston Marathon. All these runners are fast. All these runners are fast. Let's take a look at their technique. Okay, where are they landing? Now, these are fast runners. They have to qualify for this. Okay, there's a barefoot runner going by. Where's that person landing? Kind of flat, midfoot, right? Does it mean he's running perfect? No, but at least he's not landing on his heel. The other guys are all landing on their heel because they have the ability to because of their shoes. And look at some of them, they're extending their leg out really straight. So it doesn't mean that you can't be fast. It just means that the faster you go, the more damage you put in. And you won't be as fast as if you're doing the technique that I'm talking about. Okay, so that was that guy. Now, the next one up is the professional runners. How are they running? This is Ryan Hall and a Kenyan. This is several years ago, but look how they're landing. The Kenyan's actually landing closer to underneath the body. Ryan's overstriding a little bit. This is towards the end of the race, I believe. But do you see the clear difference between the professional runners? Now, these guys are moving a lot faster than those other runners, which are the age group runners. They're still fast. Age group runners are fast, but these guys are like 5-minute miles compared to those guys are maybe like 8-minute miles, which is still decently fast. So there's a clear difference, and we just have to understand why they run like that versus why the age groupers run like that. These guys are highly trained. They have coaches working with them nonstop, and they work on technique. Do they still need to improve a little bit? Of course, we all could improve in certain areas, and that's probably what they work on. They might have a little hinged arm somewhere. But the mechanics of their legs are much closer to what we're looking for.